are the AirPods Pro Generation 2. Generation 2, the second generation. These are the AirPods Pro Generation 1. And I'm going to do a little comparison between the two because that's really like, since I've been using these for a long time, I can tell you what differences there are between these. But I'm also going to go through the general specifications of why these Generation 2s are different and what you need to know about them. You might be asking yourself, maybe you're somebody who purchased the Generation 1s and you're asking yourself, do I need the Generation 2s? It's a little bit more than just yes or no. If you don't have AirPods Pro at all, do you need to buy the Generation 2 or should you still buy the Generation 1 while you're while it's still available? Here are some of the things that Apple has said are different about the AirPods Pro Generation 2 as opposed to the AirPods Pro Generation 1. The spatial audio sound is much better. They claim 2 times better sound. I don't know how you really quantify 2 times better sound, but we'll get into that a little bit later. There's the H2 chip that's replaced the H1 chip. That's sort of the brains of the whole operation. So that's a big difference according to Apple. There's new touch controls, so on the sides of the earpods, you can sort of have volume up and down and stuff like that. It works. The noise cancellation, they say the noise cancellation is 2 times better. Again, I don't know how you decide that the noise cancellation is better, but we'll get into that. And finally, there's adaptive sound transparency, which is a feature that a lot of other headsets have, and now these have them. And I don't know. Anyway, let's just go soup to nuts here. First off, generally they sound very, very good. I was a big fan of the original AirPods Pro. In fact, they remained my favorite AirPods throughout the couple of years, almost, was it 3 years? I don't know, however long they've been out, I got them on day one, and they've been my favorite AirPods. They even sort of stuck around longer than the AirPods Max for me. So yes, they are better. In general, listening to a bunch of different music sources, they sound a little tighter. Sounds like there's a little bit more space around the instruments and just a little bit more depth there. The overall sound is less veiled. It's just more crisp, I guess, is a way to say it. It depends from recording to recording, but it's less veiled, a little bit more crisp. And overall, I would say that I'm just hearing more deeply into the recordings, not by a lot, but not by a lot. I went back and forth listening to several different songs, switching between the AirPods Gen 1, AirPods Pro Gen 2, and really trying to nail down, do they sound different? And all I can say is on every song, every source that I listen to, yeah, it's different, but not a lot. There's only one place where they become really different, and that's when you listen to spatial audio tracks. Now, if you haven't gotten into spatial audio is only available through Apple Music. It's a very cool technology, but it's still not widely adopted. And Apple hasn't licensed it out to other services or anything like that. So spatial audio is still very much an Apple-specific thing. What does spatial audio do? It allows you sort of a more three-dimensional field as opposed to just stereo. So instead of everything being right across the front, left or right, is a little bit more front, a little bit more back, a little bit more side, top, etc., etc. If you've ever listened to a Dolby Atmos system or heard a Dolby Atmos demonstration, it's very similar. I will say that in the couple of years since spatial audio has been introduced, that the mixes that I'm hearing that are more recent sound a lot better. And this is where I think the H2 chip comes in. The H2 chip seems to be what's making spatial audio sound so much better on these AirPods Pro Gen 2. Comparing spatial audio tracks between Gen 1 and Gen 2, Gen 1 sounded thin, Gen 1 sounded just really not good. It was a big difference, much more full, much more life, much more detail, much more cohesive. Everything in spatial audio sounded so much better with the and I'm assuming it's the H2 chip that's driving that. If you are somebody who loves to listen to spatial audio on Apple Music and you go out of your way to seek out spatial audio mixes, and that's the way you really like to listen to music, and it does sound really good, then the Gen 2s here are definitely worth the squeeze. The noise cancellation is very good. It seems like it kicks in a little bit sooner, and it is a little bit better than what you get with the Gen 1s. The Gen 1s were very good, and so the Gen 2s are better. I can't measure whether or not they're 2 times better, but they are better, and the noise canceling really works well. When it comes to the adaptive sound control, I found that, yeah, you can hear sounds coming from outside, and it's sort of mixed in with the music that you're listening to or whatever, but it's nowhere near what Sony or even Samsung has, where when you start talking or someone starts talking to you and a conversation needs to happen, that will pause the music if you have that setting turned on, and then adaptive sound will allow you to have a conversation without taking the headphones off. And that feature, at least as far as I could tell in digging around, that's not a feature that's available here with their adaptive sound. So it's okay. If you live in a city and you need to be aware of your surroundings so you don't get run over by a car, then the adaptive sound control that the AirPods Pro Gen 2 has is worthwhile. However, it's not as good as some other adaptive sound controls that I've heard on other headsets. Herein lies the $1,000 question. And I think it should be said that, rumors aside and everything else that is out there, Apple has offered lossless audio playback since they rejiggered Apple Music a while back and brought in spatial audio. And while spatial audio is cool, you still cannot listen to lossless audio on these Gen 2. And nowhere in Apple's promotional material did I find anything that said anything about Apple being able to do lossless audio with these Gen 2s. To me, lossless audio is as valuable, if not more valuable, a feature in Apple Music than spatial audio. Spatial audio is still an Apple thing. And while that might not be a bad thing for people who are in the Apple ecosystem, the better spatial audio gets, it kind of makes the AirPods Pro Gen 2 and other headphones that Apple makes that have spatial audio, it kind of makes them more of a niche headphone. There's less attraction. If you're outside of the Apple ecosystem, it probably doesn't make sense to buy AirPods, but there's less attraction to buying the AirPods Pro Gen 2 because the only thing that they do better is spatial audio and maybe noise cancellation to a slight degree. If you're somebody who has the Gen 1s and you're wondering, should I get the Gen 2s and spend the $250? I would say if you listen to spatial audio, it's probably worth it. But if you don't listen to spatial audio, if you're still listening to Spotify or another service or something like that, you could probably get by with these because the difference in sound between regular stereo tracks is not that different between the two headphones. Again, if you listen to spatial audio or if you want to try out spatial audio and experience it and you have an Apple Music subscription, then yeah, these do it much better. The Gen 2s do it much better. The noise cancellation is better, but it's not so much better that it's going to change your experience. When it comes to the AirPods Pro Gen 2, I like them a lot. I like the first ones a lot. There's not much that's changed that's going to make me dislike them. However, I think that the people who might want to or need to buy them is a much smaller crowd than the people who wanted to buy the AirPods Pro Gen 1 when they came out. Because if you think back to the AirPods Pro Gen 1, when they came out, the only thing we had was the original AirPods. These guys were worlds better in the sound department from the original AirPods. These are not worlds better than these. So my final verdict on the AirPods Pro Gen 2 is that they are very good. And the spatial audio has been wildly improved, and it makes me want to listen to spatial audio more. However, spatial audio is still very limited, and it hasn't become an industry standard, nor can you experience spatial audio anywhere but Apple Music. So it makes these a hard sell if all you want to do is listen to music that isn't mixed in spatial audio. These are not the end-all be-all of headphones. There are a lot of great headphones out there in the $250 and the $180 price range. And if you want me to do a video that gives you a list of other options besides the AirPods Pros when it comes to wireless noise canceling earbuds, then I will do that. Just let me know down in the comments if you want that, and it will be on the way. Links to all these products, of course, in the description. Also, links to all of the gear that I use to make my videos in the description down below. If you have any questions about anything, please let me know. Go follow me over on Amazon.com, where I do live streams at least once a week, not more, and talk about headphones and audio gear, as well as computers and everything else. Once again, thanks so much for being here. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.